Fictionista fans, it's Sami-Jo, your Monday Fictionista, and this week our topic is our most loved and hated words. Why is this important? For one, we're sharing. We like to share. For two, there are some words, depending on the genre that you're in or in general, where people hate them. So if you come across those words, you use those words often, your audience is not going to be very appreciative of it, and it might make them gag or visually see something in their mind that you did not want them to see. So you have to be very conscious of the words that you use. All right, my first of hated words I'm going to mention is bae. Now, bae is a modern word, a modern slang. Besides the fact that I hate it in general when people use it for anything, it's more of an example of using slangs and stuff like that in your writing and how they can actually date your writing in the long run. So it depends on what kind of book you have, what kind of audience you have, what type of longevity I guess you're looking for, and that sort of thing. Because if you're using those modern slangs, they're modern now, but they won't be in 10 years. So anybody who's reading them might either not know what it is, or they're going to think, oh, and not relate to it because that's something that nobody says anymore and it's completely outdated. The next word I'm going to mention is literally. This one also goes hand in hand with actually, which kind of grind my gears a little bit because they are something that you can use in dialogue, and people say it all the time, especially now that the definition has changed in the last little bit. But a lot of people don't use the word in the actual sense, and it's annoying. So it's one of those words where I just don't like to see because half the times it's used incorrectly. Next word I'm going to mention is a bit of a bundle as well, as these ones in my writing group and different people I've spoken to consider them to be trash words or verbal speed bumps, they've been called, or clutter words, those types of things. And those are words like just or really or very, those types of things where your writing would actually be a lot stronger if you just took them out completely. The next word is one of the most hated words, not only for myself, but for many people on a simple Google search you could find, and that is moist. Yeah, it's gross to say, and unless you are talking about baked goods, it's not necessary. In my experience, especially if it's in a romance, it's not a good word, and there's so many other words that you could use in its stead that just don't do it. People will complain, or they will read over it, or they will giggle at the wrong time when it's not necessary, and it's just not good. Don't use moist. Never. All right, and my number one hated word, I hate to write it, so I go around to use any other word that I possibly can instead of using it, is the word penetrate. Yeah, I hate it. It's disgusting. Everything about it makes me creep. I don't like it whatsoever. If you use it, I'm going to scratch it out and put something else in instead. Don't use that word. It's the gross, dreaded P word. Just don't do it. Now that we've got past the hated words, the dreaded words, that horrible P word that shall not be named right now, we're moving on to the loved words. My first being opulent. Opulent is one of those words that's just really pretty. When you say it, it rolls off the tongue nicely. It gives you an immediate visual of what type of thing that it's describing. It just feels very perfect to me, and it's one of my very favorite words. My next favorite word is pragmatic. Now, it's not a word I've used too often in my own writing, but it's one that when I come across it while reading other people's works that I really enjoy. It's a word that if used to describe a character, you get a good sense of who that character is and the type of thoughts that they have and the way that they operate. And I really actually enjoy pragmatic characters and that thought process. So the word in itself is one that I like. Next favorite word is raunch, or raunchy, depending on how you want to use it. And this might come back to my own dirty mind. Not really sure. But I happen to like the word in itself and using it, as there is no mistaking what you mean when you use the word raunch, as it doesn't have a lot of other meanings. And it's one of those ones where when you bring up, it's for a good purpose, and it's usually quite entertaining. So another favorite word is one people will put it into maybe their hate column, but for me, I do enjoy it, and that is putrid. I like the word because immediately, as soon as you hear it, you get that smell like rotten fruit or rotten bodies or decay or that sort of thing. So as soon as you read it, it evokes that strong, strong visual and that sense of something disgusting around you. And so I love the word purely for the fact that it can evoke that much emotion and visual behind it. So putrid is definitely a good word. All right, and my most favorite word is plethora. I'm not really sure why it's my favorite word. I love to say it. I love the thought of what it means as far as the overabundance of stuff. And it just is a good accentuating word to highlight a number of things. So at any time when I see an authorized use the word plethora, I do a mini clap and get a little bit giddy before I move on. I'm not sure if I use it that often in my own works, but I'm going to have to take a look at that and maybe add some in. Plethora. You're a champ. You're a good word. All right, so that includes my list of most hated and loved words. Please leave your hated and loved words in the comments so we can all laugh and discuss why you hate them so much or love them so much. And make sure that you stay tuned for the rest of the week to see what the other fictionistas think. And make sure also that you are tweeting and sharing and all that fun stuff too. See you next week, guys. Bye.